Week number 4 in the books, and we have a lot to talk about. A lot of players did good, a lot of players did bad, a mixed bag like usual. Every week's going to have a mixed bag of players, but we had some bounce back performances out of guys like Justin Fields, Isaiah Pacheco. We had some dud performances per usual. We're here to kind of break some of it down. Initial reactions, talk about what you could improve upon walking into 2023 week number 5, as week 4 is almost concluded. We have Monday night. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. Reaction show, week 4 reaction show. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So file on in, hit that like button on your way in the door, and let's discuss what we just witnessed here, first of all, with this game. Look, Zach Wilson played better than anybody anticipated, but he's still very lacking in terms of getting the football to these guys. And while he did better than usual, there's still a whole lot of concern in terms of Garrett Wilson getting the right kind of throw his direction. But Garrett Wilson had a solid day, 15 points. Breece Hall was averaging like 11 yards a carry pretty much, and they just didn't feed him enough. They need to move on. I don't think what happened in this game is going to make Salah move on, unfortunately. So I don't know that we see a difference next week, but they played well, but they have to give Breece Hall carries. He's producing. He's getting 10 yards a carry. He's getting over 10 yards a carry. So it's absolutely crazy. A-Chain to the freaking moon. A-Chain to the freaking moon. Pacheco to the moon. Pacheco came back strong. A lot of gross overreactions to Pacheco early on in the season. He looks fantastic. Anthony Richardson had a fine day. Justin Fields bounced back. Let's send Justin Fields to the moon for his nice performance. There's still a lot of questions about whether Justin Fields can continue and have a successful, remainder of the 2023 season, week 5 and beyond. But very, very, very nice performance by Justin Fields, scoring. He was the second highest scoring quarterback in fantasy football. And Anthony Richardson, our biggest buy low probably quarterback the last 3 weeks, going nuts, having a 31.6 point game in this particular scoring. This is the Marsmen scoring right here. Very, very excited. But yeah, let's go over to the RBs. Let's give Christian McCaffrey a round of applause for coming in with a 4-touchdown game. The guy's an absolute monster. I am very, very petrified they're going to break him, though. The guy had about 30 touches in this game when they were up by 2 touchdowns, about to knock on the door to a third score, make it a 3-score game, and they're still pounding the rock with Christian McCaffrey. Now, I know fantasy owners are happy about that, but they're going to break him. They're going to break him. The man was already having a phenomenal 4-touchdown game, and they're about to knock on the door on a third score, and they're literally running this man into the ground. I'm petrified that he's going to get injured, but until then, or hopefully he doesn't, he's an absolute monster, and he needs to get a standing ovation because Puka Nacua coming in so strong in this game, catching his first touchdown, the 4th ranked wide receiver according to this scoring format here. Puka Nacua, the 4th highest scoring wide receiver in 2023 week 4. What a day, but let's give Achane a round of applause. The 4th highest ranked running back. This guy right here, Achane, you can see the stats right here. Achane had 101 rushing yards, 19 receiving yards, 3 receptions, 2 rushing touchdowns, and he was the 4th highest scoring running back. And just what an unbelievable performance from this kid. And the sky's the limit for Achane. Achane is going to win leagues for people. And, we may not get everything right on this channel. And I come out and tell you when I miss things. I'm very, very open about that. And nobody's going to get anything right. I do feel like we hit home runs on Achane. We hit home runs on Achane. All the buy low opportunities, all the sell a big name player for Achane and a wide receiver. Go get Achane and a wide receiver like whatever, Waddle or whoever you thought might be that piece. A.J. Brown's been a buy low for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've definitely hit on some of those, and I'm very, very excited for everybody that's turned their team around by accumulating Anthony Richardson's in trades, accumulating Achane's in trades, accumulating A.J. Brown's. There were some slumping individuals this week like Deebo Samuel, who didn't do much, and there's a big concern for a lot of people that thought maybe Deebo Samuel wouldn't do much, and I apologize to anybody that asked me a question about, hey, Deebo or this guy, and I'm like, what? I really was convinced that he was going to have a full course meal, and he was on the field. He was getting carries at the end of the game. What's this guy saying? You never said anything about Achane until he dropped his 50-point game. Okay, bro. Whatever you say. You never said. It's always the haters and the real long names like this guy. You never said anything about Achane until he dropped his 50-point game. You want to tell him, guys? You want to tell him? You want to tell him, or do you want me to tell him? I'll let the chat tell you. Turner, whatever your name is, inappropriate name anyway. I'll go ahead and let the chat tell you before we send you on your way. There you go. Turner, say goodbye. But read the chat on your way out the door, because they'll let you know we've been talking about Achane the entire season. Week 1 preemptive waiver wire show. One of the top ads. Get out of here with your hate. Get out of here with your hatred. Get out of here with your whatever it is, and go find another channel. Chase is killing you. Chase is going to be a really, really, really hard player to trade away right now. And Mahomes, I am petrified about. Mahomes is absolutely. Oh God, I don't know what to think about Mahomes going forward. I think he's going to absolutely be a concern. I'm a petrified Peter right now about Patrick Mahomes, which in turn makes me a petrified Peter potentially about Jamar Chase. Now, Smitty told me to pick up Achane before anyone else. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I don't really need to prove anything to that guy. I was just it's just like, why do people have to come in and try and just, I don't know, make stuff up? Okay, so let's look at these stats real quick. A.J. Brown, 175 and 2 touchdowns, 13 targets, 9 receptions. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me zoom in a little so you guys can see it a little bit better, and then we can discuss a little bit more detail there. Okay, so A.J. Brown, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, a monster. 3 receiving touchdowns, 120 yards on 6 receptions. A.J. Brown had the 9. Nico Collins, here's kind of a problem. Nico Collins versus Tank Dell. Tank Dell versus Nico Collins. This was a question we got quite a bit. And thank you, Tweezy. Appreciate you. Got Achane in 2 leagues because of Smitty. I thank you guys. I'm not sure week to week that we're going to call this one right. 600 of you in here, please punch that thumb up button. I'm not sure we're going to call this right. I feel like they're going to rotate to some degree. Nico had such a big day, 168 and 2 TDs. You can't discount him as a wide receiver 3-4 going forward. So you got to start him. I know a lot of people are upset about Mahomes' slide. That was not cool at all. I think can you pour one out for those struggling in fantasy? A lot of people are struggling in fantasy, bro. Appreciate you. If I had one here, I'd dump it for you. Kyron's the real deal. Kyron's fantastic. Ayuk is on the rise. Ayuk had a big day. Let's go see Ayuk stats right here. Ayuk, 148 on 6 receptions, no touchdowns. Chris Godwin had a little resurgence with 114 yards. Dobbs, we saw that one earlier in the week, 95 yards on 9 receptions. Terry McLaurin had a little resurgence, 86 yards on 8 receptions. JJ had 2 touchdowns. Very unorthodox scoring for JJ. He's getting some touchdowns, some tutties, which is fantastic. Normally he's not scoring like this. 6 receptions for 85 yards and 2 scores. Michael Wilson, 76 yards on 7 receptions and 2 touchdowns. We talked about this guy a lot in the offseason as a potential best ball gem at the end of your draft. Talked about how if Marvin Harrison Jr. and Caleb Williams aren't possible for the Cardinals, who at one point, I don't know anymore what Vegas odds are on the Cardinals having the number 1 and like number 3 and number 1 and number 2 or number 1 and number 5 overall picks, or even the number 1 overall pick at all. But Caleb Williams is going to slip out of our grasp here in Arizona. I am a Cardinal fan because I do believe that they're not going to be the worst team in the NFL. They're fighting. They're trying. They can't even dive right. The Cardinals are playing tough football, even though they don't have the weapons. They're running a skeleton crew, and they're being well coached. They're being very, very well coached. I'm thinking this coach is the real deal. He's a man of the people. But I think Wilson, my talk all offseason long was that if for any reason the Cardinals, who have had Vegas's odds-on favorite to be the number 1 and number 2 overall draft selecting team in the 2024 NFL draft, because we have the Houston Texans pick. So Vegas was like, Cardinals are going to get their own first overall pick, then they're going to get the Houston Texans number 2 overall pick. I don't think that's going to be the case. So now we say to ourselves, okay, without Marvin Harrison Jr., but maybe a quarterback, unless the Cardinals roll with Kyler, this Michael Wilson guy is the developmental piece at the wide receiver position. They may not need a wide receiver. Not saying he's Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm just saying this is a gem. This is a hidden gem here in Arizona. We've loved him for a while on this channel. And I truly believe that Michael Wilson in Dynasty should already be owned, and he probably is unless you're in a Grandma Dynasty League. But he's absolutely a player you should go get now in Dynasty if for any reason he's there. And he's a nice little wide receiver to grab at the very end of your bench if you're looking around scouring the waiver wire, and he will be on the waiver wire list for week number 4. And in fact, let me make sure I write that down so we have that on here. I've got a list here. We've got Jaleel McLaughlin, who looks really good. We might have to pour one out for Javonte Williams, just kind of fading away. And he got injured. He had the hip flexor and left the game. He doesn't sound like he's going to miss any time at all, or a real small amount of time. And I don't know if that means games, if not just some practice time. But McLaughlin looks like the real deal. Not that Javonte doesn't. And for anybody that wants to throw shade and hate on Javonte's box score, if you watch Javonte, he looks very fast and strong. He's getting crap play calls. He really is. If you watch the game, he's literally getting congested type of carries up the gut, congestion, whereas McLaughlin was getting more of the change of pace work, open rushing lane. He's very shifty, and he made a lot of his own rushing lanes for himself after the fact, after contact. McLaughlin's really solid. He needs to be grabbed because I don't know that Javonte is going to survive this. And it doesn't have to do with the ACL. It has to do with a number of different things, with how they're wanting to run the football and how they're wanting to use the personnel there, and what Sean Payton's doing and not doing in Denver. I definitely think Javonte is somebody that maybe we don't cut if we can hold on to him, but I definitely am losing hope. I'm losing hope for Javonte. I'm losing hope for, obviously, Okonkwo, some guys we liked in the offseason. You're going to have some huge misses on a bold prediction list. So, there's no shame in walking away from those two players in a sense and moving toward the better, brighter light in McLaughlin. And so McLaughlin's season's here. We got Cole Kmet, who was, if you guys remember, on my top 5 breakout tight end video. Okonkwo, Cole Kmet, and Kincaid were the 3 tight ends I thought were one of those guys, not all 3, one of the sneaky top 5 tight ends that's outside the top 10 tight end rankings is hiding in this group of 3. Kincaid, who I still think could fully become what we have talked about him all offseason to become. He just needs the time. Cole Kmet and Okonkwo. Okonkwo crashed and burned. And I'm ready to write that off. I don't think that prediction is coming back at all. I don't think there's any hope for it at all. I'm losing hope on Javonte too. So those 2 predictions alone, I'm almost writing off and just saying those are done. But the Kmet resurgence was amazing. It's completely tied to the Justin Fields resurgence, which is what we talked about all last week, that Cole Kmet couldn't have done anything. DJ Moore, who had 131 yards and a touchdown on 8 receptions as the number 5 wide receiver in fantasy, couldn't do anything if Fields wasn't doing anything. So the resurgence in both DJ Moore and Kmet is completely tied to the getting Fields back on the train. So Fields had a fantastic day. If we go back over to quarterbacks, we look at it. Fields the number 2 quarterback in fantasy football week number 4. And Fields had 335 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, passing touchdowns, 1 INT. And it looks like he didn't even run He didn't even run that much. What did he run for? Let's see here. He had 4 rushes for 25 yards. Fields isn't even running yet. Like, I'm not saying Fields is going to necessarily run like a monster all offseason, it appears, right? But he will start to run again. He will scramble. He will have a 100-yard game coming up. I truly believe that he will have like a 100-yard game coming up. And so Fields will be even more valuable. And when he's not cranking out 4 touchdowns and 335 yards and going 11 for 11, and I think he had the 3 touchdowns, or he had the 2 when he was knocking on the door of the third. But I think he was right around 3 touchdowns and 11 for 11, right around half. Was that correct? And that was phenomenal. It wasn't just that the numbers were there. Fields was accurate. Fields was looking good. His passes were pristine. And then he made some mistakes at the end, but a lot of it came down to stupid play calling. And honestly, I think there maybe needs to be a change there, and some realization that Fields needs to be used a certain way, kind of like they used him in the first half. But unbelievable. Fields was absolutely magnificent. I don't want to hear a bunch of negativity on Fields right now, because Fields came out and was really, really good. He was 11 for 11. Then he went 11 for 12. I think he was 11 for 12 and had the 3 TDs at that point before he had his 4th touchdown. And I think that was like near the half, if I remember correctly. We'll have to see. Joe Burrow absolutely killing everyone. You have to bench him. Unless you don't have another single option, he is not right. He is not right. The misleading of he's practicing in full. He ain't practicing in full. There's no way this guy's practicing in full. I wish I was there so I could accurately have reported that. He's practicing in full, we're hearing. He's running through practice in full. He's not practicing anywhere close to full. Joe Burrow is hampered. And the concern we have to have now is, how long does he sit out? Is there an announcement that Joe Burrow is going to take time off, rest through the bye week, and not return and really screw fantasy football owners? Ja'Marr Chase doesn't drop out of being a top 12 wide receiver, but he does drop desperately and drastically from top 2 to 3 overall potential down to like 10. And so we had a couple dilemmas yesterday that I was wavering on with Ja'Marr Chase, that I wish I could remember what the deal was, that I think every single person in the chat would be unanimous in voting take that other side, whereas last night the chat was unanimous to take Ja'Marr Chase in a very close deal that I was wavering. I forget what it was, and we said we'll go with the chat. I agreed. Ja'Marr Chase, let's roll with Ja'Marr Chase. Burrow's getting healthier. It's going to be good. So I got swayed on that one, and we were all together in unison on Ja'Marr Chase being better than this package that right now would be guaranteed to be almost a unanimous vote in favor of the other side. That's how quickly fantasy moves. And I wish things were always perfect, butterflies and white doves and buttercups, but it's not. And we got to adjust and adapt, just like we've been adjusting and adapting on a lot of the buy lows. And I'll put the buy lows up from last week, and we'll review that real quick, and then we'll get back to some of the stats. But some of these guys are still buy lows, some of them aren't. Some of them became better buy lows. So this is last week's week number 4 buy lows. We touted them all last week. We got Achane, who is no longer able to be had. He's off the table in terms of a buy low. No one's selling this man for anything. You can't buy him for using a mid-range running back 1, because he is a running back 1. Achane's a freaking running back 1. Go forward. Running back 1 going forward. There's no doubt about it in my mind that this guy has running back 1 potential. Now, you could ask yourself, if we go back to Achane's numbers real quickly before we dig into this stuff, and we say, okay, let's go over to the RBs. Let's look at running back number 4, who happens to be De'Von Achane. De'Von Achane coming in so strong with that 101 rushing yards, 3 receptions, 2 rushing touchdowns, 8 rushing attempts, and that's the crazy part. 8 rushing attempts. He rushed the ball only 8 times. That is kind of concerning in a small context, to say, well, if he doesn't average 10 yards a carry, over 10 yards a carry, what happens? If he doesn't rip off, what's the exact 101? Get the exact number. 101 divided by 8 is 12.625. If he's not averaging 12.625, let's just say on a bad day he's getting like 8 yards a pop, 64 yards instead of 12.625 a carry, getting you 101. He's going to get more volume. He's going to get more volume. He's going to be unbelievable. Damn me, Smitty, says Adam. Debo, Olave, Tank Dell, Evans screwed you in fantasy. I don't make all your decisions, bro. There are a lot of people doing well. It just so happens, bro, you have the wrong combination this week. But I don't think anybody screwed you, Adam. I know you keep repeating it and pasting it over and over. I'll put it on screen if you want it on the screen so badly. We'll read it because I'm not afraid to read your comment. Adam, Debo, Olave, Tank Dell, Evans, and Olave again. Screwed me, Smitty, in my 3-man leagues. Damn you, Smitty. Why me? What did I do, Adam? What did I do? You drafted this exact combination of players. I didn't draft this exact combination of players. Debo's been popping off, Adam. What's wrong with you thinking that Debo's not good? What's wrong with you thinking that Olave's just vanished because of 1 week? And that Tank Dell's no longer good when Tank Dell's everybody's darling? And then you got what? Evans popping off like the bargain that you got him at, bro. And you're complaining about it because they're all doing bad at 1 week. I don't know why you're pasting it over and over, but Adam, I didn't draft this exact team for you. I didn't. So I don't know what I have to do with it. But I appreciate you anyway, Adam. I appreciate you. Devon Achane is a top 5 to 10 running back. Top 5 to 10 running back. And I don't know if the carries will be there next week and the next week and the next week. We'll have to see. I do know the efficiency needs to be high for him to deliver these kinds of games, but I certainly believe, given the fact that he is ultra efficient and he's going to get something to the tune of 3 to 5 receptions a game no matter what, probably about 60 to 70 total yards a game, probably almost no matter what, as long as he's getting this kind of volume. And then on top of that, he's going to have a very strong shot at a touchdown each and every single week. He scored 4 touchdowns in week number 3, and he scored 2 touchdowns in week number 4. He scored, I believe it was 4. Did he have both touchdowns in the first quarter or second quarter? I forget what it was. Once he scored his other touchdown, it was the last 5 quarters he scored 6 touchdowns. I think it was. It was absolutely crazy. But Devon Achane's the man. Kyren Williams is for real. I don't even know where to rank Kyren Williams right now. He's a top 10 running back going forward. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's a top 10 running back going forward. Bottom line, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This guy is name a bunch of other. Let's see here. Smitty told me to draft these players. Your fault. I could have drafted better players. God, come on, Adam. You're better than that. Not to mention, like, Evans, whenever I did talk about Evans being drafted, it was grabbing him super late, Adam, where you got him. And Adam, you had a freaking magnificent value in Mike Evans that you're 100% getting your value back. So why is Evans even included in that list when he's done badly for 1 week? You're overreacting, completely overreacting, bro, on 1 week of a collective group of guys, and one of which is Mike Evans, who you got probably around 7, and you're complaining about him having a bad week when he was getting shadowed, and there was a pretty solid outing considering. I don't even understand. Anyway, okay, so let's get on to the rest of this. Kyren Williams, 103 yards, 3 receptions, 2 rushing touchdowns, 25 rushing attempts, 4.1 a carry, 3 targets, catch percentage 100%. Unbelievable. Top 6 to 10 running back going forward. Derrick Henry had a resurgence. We have to worry about Derrick Henry. Here's Derrick Henry's game log coming out of this week, okay? So attempts, you can see down in the middle column, 15 attempts, 25 attempts, 11 attempts, 22 attempts. Poor yards per carry until this week when he had the 1 breakaway touchdown run, 122 yards, 1 touchdown. I'm selling high. I'm selling high as quick as I can on Derrick Henry, and maybe there's still a world where you can go buy an Achane and another player. An example would be Achane and Devontae Smith. Let's go back to the buy lows. And if there was a world where you could buy Achane cheaply, it's this way. This is the only way. It would be Achane and a buy low Devonta Smith. It would be Achane and a buy low Calvin Ridley, who I still fully believe in. I still fully believe in Devonta Smith. This is not where we react one time. This right here, Ridley, Waddle, Eckler, still going to be a great buy low because he's got the bye week coming up, so that's still going to feel like I can't get another I can't have another game, Smitty, without Eckler being there. I got to make a trade. Cooper Kupp still an interesting buy. Bijan, I think Bijan would be a good buy. He had a good day, a very good day. He is so good. He is the best pure running back in the National Football League. It's unbelievable when you watch this guy run. There's nobody that runs better than this guy in terms of between the tackles, jump cuts, smooth cutting, dragging players. He's the traditional workhorse back that LaDainian Tomlinson, Arian Foster would play like. This is him. He's so good. He is in a situation, though, where he needs more volume. He needs touchdown production. The quarterback situation is definitely concerning, but I definitely feel like this is a running back that's going to gain more and more value every day. And if anybody thinks he can't be in the top 2 or 3 running backs at the end of the season because of maybe a little bit slower start than we wanted, including this week not having like touchdowns and just having great yardage. He had a great stat line. I mean, Bijan was running back. What was he? He was running back 11. He had 105 rushing yards. He had 5 receptions. He had 14 rushing attempts only. He was averaging 7.5 a carry. Let me put this on screen. I thought I had it up here. I'm sorry. So here's Bijan's stat line. Let me click on Bijan's game log here. Bijan Robinson in this game had 14. Let's see if I can. Let me make that bigger. He had 14 carries, 7.5 yards per carry, 105 rushing yards, 5 targets, 5 receptions, 32 yards. Very solid day for Bijan to have roughly 100 and just under 140 yards. Like he was unbelievable in this contest, and I think he continues to thrive. The touchdowns will come. I know the touchdowns haven't been there yet, and it's been pretty disappointing. He has had the one receiving touchdown in week 1, but he hasn't gotten touchdown volume. That's been the biggest knock on Bijan Robinson. He's had 2 100-yard games so far. He's ripping off an amazing yard per carry. First week, 5.6 yards per carry. Second week, 6.53. Week 3, it was only 3.3, but he only got the 10 totes. And in week 4, 7.5 yards per carry. This guy's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. He's an absolute monster. I love him. Let's see here. I drafted. So Adam, are you trolling or are you not trolling? Like, I don't understand what you're doing. And why is it even fun to troll or whatever? I drafted Pacheco because you told me to, Smitty, and I love Pacheco. There you go, Adam. Pacheco had a nice night. And the nice part about Pacheco is it feels like once the Chiefs start rolling with a player like that, it's hard to know what they're going to do in week 1 coming off of like another season, because they always did that with Jamal Williams. Remember, not Jamal Williams, Damian Williams. Damian Williams would always have a good playoff run, Super Bowl performance, and then in week 1 they wouldn't use him. It feels very much like their recipe every single year. And Pacheco, same thing. Amazing ending to the season. They don't use him at all in week 1. Week 1 and 2, he's kind of absent. Now he's rolling and having some good production, and I believe Pacheco starts to do well moving forward. So fantastic to see that. McLaughlin is a guy we need to keep an eye on. 72 yards rushing, receiving yards 32, receiving touchdown. He's going to be the best out of the week. Swift didn't get the volume we wanted. He only carried the ball 14 times, but he did have a touchdown, 23 receiving yards, 4 receptions, and he had the 56 rushing yards. So very nice day for Swift. I don't think that's a bad day at all. We have people freaking out about Swift for some reason, and I don't know why. Alvin Kamara had a nice little afternoon, even though it seemed to hamper maybe what we were going to get out of Olave. But I don't know that I would tie it strictly to Kamara. I would just say that the pass wasn't, they couldn't get the pass going. Derek Carr was hurt. It's not like they ran the ball so much that they couldn't pass to Olave. 11 totes, 51 yards per carry, 4.64, but 14 targets, 13 receptions, and 33 yards. Derek Carr couldn't throw downfield, apparently. So that's kind of the direction this went. 33 yards. So if anybody's saying, oh, now, Kamara comes back and Olave's not going to get used, not necessarily the case, because look at the yardage. You get 14 targets, 13 receptions, and you only have 33 yards to show for it. It's not because he's not a good player. Look at the yards per carry over here, 4.64. He's fine. His efficiency is great. He's just getting these small, quick dump-offs from Derek Carr because he can't throw downfield, and I think that's more about what happened. So appreciate you. Let's see here. As far as other players to talk about, Khalil Herbert was interesting, having the 103 rushing yards. We thought that the baton was going to get handed off. There's always that concern when we move to one player prematurely. Khalil Herbert getting that freaking 18 carry, 103 yard game with the 4 receptions, 19 yards, and 1 touchdown. Roschon was starting to get work, and then they turned to Khalil Herbert, and he was the hot hand, and so they stuck with him. I think had Roschon been the hot hand, he would have potentially gotten his run, but it is what it is. In that system, they're definitely a hot hand type of mentality. Jacobs had a nice bounce back game like your boy predicted, having O'Connell in there. It sucked to see O'Connell throw the game away with an INT, but he did play well. I don't know if he played well enough to keep Jimmy G from coming back. I think they give probably Jimmy G one more try, and then we'll see O'Connell get shoved into the lineup after that fails or he gets hurt again. But 17 carries, not good yards per carry. It was 1 touchdown on the ground for Jacobs, 58 yards, 3.41 a carry. Where he thrived was catching 8 receptions for 81 yards. So Jacobs had a nice day. I'm selling him. I'm selling Derrick Henry, and I'm selling Jacobs as quick as I can to go after these monster buy low players that we've been talking about all week number 3 leading into week 4 on screen right here. These guys, not all of these guys, like, you don't just go after just, you know what I mean? Like, these are some of the big names. Now we're going to add a whole bunch more names walking into week number 5. So this is the old list. This is the old list. I'm not saying that you go after Hall in a significant way. I'm not saying you go after Gibbs in a significant way. I think these guys are players you go attack as potential additives to a trade, a freebie, so to speak. Richardson might be hard to get at this point. Taylor's still potentially able to be had. Devontae's definitely able to be had. Ridley's definitely able to be had. Waddle's easily tradable or acquirable right now. Eckler still should be because of the bye week. Christian Watson didn't blow up. He should be attainable. And Jalen Hurts becomes probably my number one go-get quarterback because I think people see Josh Allen popping off and they look at Jalen Hurts if they own him and say, he's not the same. I drafted the wrong guy. And right now, that's true. But I think the tide can turn. Remember Josh Allen. For people that are so quick to be like, okay, here's Josh Allen. Let me show Josh Allen's game log, and then I'm going to get to the super chats here. We look at Josh Allen and we say, okay, Josh Allen look at this game log in week 4 down at the bottom here. 320 yards, 4 touchdowns, 17 yards running, and the 1 rushing touchdown. Phenomenal day. But keep in mind what week 1 looked like. And if we're going to overreact on any player right now, like a Debo who had a bad game, or like an Olave who had a bad game, remember the inverse of that. Okay, remember that Josh Allen had 236 yards on that week 1 line right here. 200. Let me put an indicator up here. Let me see if I can get this shrunken down to size here. If you look at this, it's not even. It's way too big. It's way too big. Do I have something smaller here? Let's use this, I guess. When you look down at this, that's a little too small. Okay, when we take this, okay, there we go. 236 yards, 1 TD, 3 INTs. Okay, coming out of this game, people were petrified about Josh Allen, petrified, and then he had 0 INTs and 3 TDs in week number 2. He came back and had 218, 1 and 1, and people were getting a little nervous, even though he did have the rushing potential and the touchdowns. So he ended up having 2 touchdowns in this game. But so did Jordan Love. Jordan Love had 2 touchdowns this week and last week, and people are still all over Jordan Love saying he looked like garbage or whatever. 2 touchdowns doesn't seem to be enough for people in today's world. So just keep in mind as you're thinking about how good Jalen Hurts looks or how bad Jalen Hurts looks right now to you if you own him, don't sell him low. He could do this flipperoo right here. And I think people overreact. Let's get to the super chat and let's go on. Why did Kamara get so many targets? Adam, like I just explained, I think Carr couldn't throw downfield, which is, it's not that Kamara took away from the reception volume. It was more so the fact that Carr wasn't healthy and they shouldn't have put him out there. 10-man PPR. This is Nathan with a $20 hauler. Herbert, Goff, wide receiver, Jefferson, Lamb, Watson, Flowers, Kirk, Jacobs, Walker, Swift, Achane, Hall, Laporta. Broncos traded Devontae Smith for Walker yesterday. Any advice? I like that trade. I think you probably stand pat for now. You see how Herbert is with the injury. He did come back and throw a dart to win the game, so he did come out with the hand, and then he went back in. I think I sell Jacobs on the high. I keep Walker, Swift, and Achane. I might even risk the biscuit with that Hall, Walker, Swift, Achane combination. And I don't know if you could go get using Jacobs, a wide receiver that might be. I mean, could you get Tyreek Hill somehow using maybe Hall and Jacobs and Watson, or could you get some wide receiver like let's look at the wide receiver list real quick. I don't even think somebody would do that trade, but I'm just throwing out like dart throws, bro. Let's look at the season stats and see what wide receivers might be kind of underrated right now. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown would be a good potential wide receiver to get. I think Ridley and Olave are good wide receivers to get. I would use Jacobs to get any one of those wide receivers potentially. Or if you could go get a Travis Etienne, or if you could go get an Achane and a Devonta Smith, an Achane and a Waddle, an Achane and a Ridley. Those moves, I think, are phenomenal for teams like your team. But past that, you don't have to really make a move, Nathan. Your team is really, really good, and you can let it ride for a week and then kind of see where it goes. Your team's solid. Your running backs are solid. You got a really good squad, and I appreciate your $20 hauler.
Alert. Super chat alert.
My boy Nathan. Appreciate you, Nathan. Thank you for the super chat, young man. Northwest with a $20 hauler. Appreciate you. Northwest, thank you so much. Chris with a $20 hauler. Thank you, my guy, for coming in strong with that. And Brian Rogers with a $20 hauler. This is becoming my favorite channel. Just wanted to show some love. Brian, appreciate you.
Alert. Super chat alert.
That's my boy Brian right there. Brian, thank you so much for just coming in and just being a generous dude. Let's be nice, Chris. Smitty got me undefeated in 4 leagues. I think Chris is joking. Or I'm sorry, I think Adam's joking. I don't know why Chris thought it was really funny, but I think he was joking. I'm not sure. But thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you, Chris.
Alert. Super chat alert.
And this one right here is from Northwest. Thank you, Chris, for defending me, though. I do appreciate you. You are the man. You know that, Chris, right?
Alert. Super chat alert.
But we'll try and get along here. I need help 1 and 3 now. What would you do in this scenario? T-Law, Bijan, Swift, A.J. Brown, Ridley, Hunter Henry, Gibbs, benches, Watson, Addison, Flowers. It's a really good team. I don't think you necessarily need to make any kind of drastic move whatsoever. I think, potentially holding on to Bijan, Swift, and A.J. Brown is advisable. Ridley advisable. I don't think you can necessarily trade away an Addison and Gibbs yet, or an Addison and Watson. If you could, I would definitely potentially look to do that. But that would be your only move. If you were to sell high on somebody, it would be A.J. Brown. So let's just go to the buy low list real quick, and just as an example, again, we keep using this Achane example. I don't think you can get him cheaply, but you could get him in an A.J. Brown sale, where you get Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown or Ridley and Devontae Smith and Achane, or Ridley and Achane, or Waddle and Achane, or Aaron Jones and Achane, like something like that for your AJB. And I'm not saying to sell AJB, he's phenomenal, but that's your only move here if you were to try and do some sort of big move. Other than that, you're trying to get someone to give you Devontae Smith, Waddle, Ridley for Gibbs and Watson, or Gibbs and Addison, which I think I would do, Northwest, if I was in your situation, though. So that would be a good attempt. Thank you for your $20 hauler. I would go down those avenues for right now, at least. Won both of my leagues. CMC Richardson, absolutely great. Glory, Joey, appreciate you. Richardson was phenomenal. Christian McCaffrey was phenomenal. Great job, bro. You got a great combination of player right there. Dropped all fab on Achane. Went off. New Miami running back 1. Let's go, Boone. Let's go.
To the moon.
To the moon. To the moon, you, Boone, and to the moon, Achane. Achane to the moon. Absolutely phenomenal. All the doubt that was circling. Now everybody's going to act like it's obvious. Oh, yeah, everybody knew he was good. There's so much doubt coming into this week on Achane. He's going to be a 1-week wonder. Here's my reaction. Wilson and Dobbs look better than T-Law. 1-3 now with T-Law, Ridley, Gibbs on my team. Here is to next season. I'm sorry, James. Keep trying. Don't give up. And T-Law's... Look, I mean, I still feel like T-Law, there are moments, and I think he does have a lot of learning to do, and I feel like he's got a lot of players dropping footballs, and that's not an excuse necessarily, but I think T-Law will look better. I don't think he's just going to be mediocre. I think he will play great. I think he will grow. He will mature. I don't know that he'll be top 5. I'm not saying that, but I do think he'll be starting material, at least, to the point where, what are you going to do? Can you go get an Anthony Richardson? If you can, I would. But, what do you have to give up with T-Law to get that? Would you have to give up a Godwin? Then sure, do it. Would you have to give up a Zach Moss? It probably is worthless at this point. Like, those are the moves that I would easily surrender a player like that to get an upgrade into Anthony Richardson. But Anthony Richardson was a buy low last week. I don't know that you can get him. So who's the next Anthony Richardson? I guess if I look at quarterbacks, I'd probably say to myself that you've got players like Tua, who had a bad week. I bet you Tua is going to be my buy low quarterback of the week, potentially coming off a bad game, because people are very reactive. Look at all the comments about Evans and Olave. Olave is going to be one of the biggest buy lows walking into this week. Olave, I'll write these down so we can talk about them. Olave, Tua. We're going to have a boatload of players to talk about walking into the week number 5 content. So Achane, we got to get an Achane animation. It's destined. Brees and JT midseason monster season approaching. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you. Brees looks good. He's not good in the stat, the box score at the end of the day. I get that, but he's so explosive. He's getting healthier. They better start running the ball. They better start running Brees Hall. I don't know if they are, though. I don't know. I hope they do. $10 hauler from Saul. Appreciate you, my man, coming in. Hurts, Love, JJ, St. Brown, Puka, Watson, Dobbs. You did good. You did good this week, didn't you? James Cook, Kyron, Brees. You got a really good team. JT on IR, Andrews. What combo should I put together for an Achane? I don't know that your team is necessarily in need of that. Keep Hurts. I'm telling you, it's the best quarterback you can get without dismantling anything. Puka's playing out of his mind. James Cook, I would trade for Achane, obviously. James Cook and Ford. Would I trade Andrews if you had another tight end backup plan for Achane and something? But Andrews, probably because of the position of scarcity, you probably should get more, quite honestly. But maybe someone's going to value Achane more. I don't know. If I was you, I would be looking at Achane in a different league, because that team is fire, bro. And if you start messing with it and tinkering with it too much, bro, you're going to dismantle it trying to get one player. How to trade Brees Hall? You can't. You got to just hold him, Joey. I wish there was a way to trade him, but there's not. Not unless you throw him into a deal. Okay, so the way you would probably trade him is take your T-Law and upgrade it into Hurts and throw in Hall. Throw him in as window dressing. Throw him in as icing on the cake. Take your T. Law and upgrade it to Richardson. Throw in Breece Hall. That's really the only way you can use Breece, and there will be people that will do that if they're in desperate need of a quarterback that badly that they'll say, I'll take a chance. Example of someone at Burrow, you could throw in Breece Hall and maybe upgrade that into an Anthony Richardson, because someone might say, well, I'll take the chance on Burrow. I'll chase the ambulance. There are a lot of people that will do that if they're in a desperation mode, like 0-4, 1-3. 1 QB, 2 running back. I got Joe Burrow, Love, got 2 offers. Tua for Gibbs, and a second offer is Joe Burrow, Ridley, Collins for Pat Mahomes. So your quarterbacks are Joe Burrow and Love, and you're being offered Pat Mahomes, but you got to give up Ridley, Collins, Tua for Gibbs in a second. I probably take that Tua for Gibbs in a second. Actually, no. I'm sorry. Second, this is pure dynasty, I imagine. So I'm not giving rid of Gibbs. I truly believe in Gibbs in a dynasty format. I don't like that move. So let me backtrack on that. I'm sorry. I was just going into redraft mode for a second. But second rounders, this is a pure dynasty. There's no way I'm doing that. Joe Burrow, Ridley, and Collins for Pat Mahomes. I would probably do that one in a dynasty, potentially. I would try and get something else to accommodate for the Ridley swap, though. But Joe Burrow in a dynasty should be okay, long term. I know everyone's really mad at him, but he's going to bounce back from this. He's not healthy, but I'd rather a Pat Mahomes, and I probably would pay that price. But I'm not trading Gibbs. I don't think I would trade Gibbs. Tua, in a dynasty, I don't want Tua because the concussions. I don't know that risk will ever go away. At wide receiver, Paul or JT Gibbs. Yeah, I'm keeping Gibbs, JC. If I got that wrong, and I don't think I did because there's second rounders involved, so it has to be a dynasty. Refs, Chiefs, terrible calls late in the game. Appreciate you, Corey. Yeah, that was Salah was pissed, man, and I don't blame him. That was pretty ticky-tack. Trade packages to upgrade QBs, Richardson and Achane, Mixon. I'd trade Mixon. Pacheco's fire. Roll with Pacheco for now. Hall in the wings. Roshan in the wings. Mixon. Keep Olave and JJ. Scary Terry off a big game. I think you could get rid of Mixon and Scary Terry for one bigger player. And think struggling player who struggled this week. Who could you go after? We talked about Aaron Jones. We talked about Olave. You've got Olave, so that can't be one of those options. But we talked about Austin Eckler on the bye week. Maybe his owner is going to be scared to death and trade you Eckler for Scary Terry and Mixon. You never know until you try. Aaron Jones would be a good go get. JT would be a good go get in this situation. Wide receiver wise, I don't think you'll get a Tyreek Hill, but you could always try. People are very, very reactive. Look at all the people acting like Olave is garbage now. So just go take stabs at that. And if you can't get that done, Mixon for Ridley straight up. And maybe you just keep Scary Terry. You trade him in another trade and upgrade someone else. Maybe Pacheco high and Scary Terry together to go get a struggling Pollard or somebody that's freaking out on an ETN. So you could do technically 2 trades. That ETN trade and then Mixon straight up for Ridley. Mixon straight up for Devontae Smith. Garrett, that's how I'd fix that team. Appreciate your super chat. Blake coming in with a $10 hauler. Blake, appreciate you. Picked up Achane, traded CMC for Diggs, Waller, Pacheco, and Brian Robinson. Then traded Pacheco for Dell and Flowers. It's tough because CMC and Diggs both balled out. They both had fantastic games. I don't know if I love the second trade was good at the time. I don't know how it looks now. Pacheco played like fire. Your team's very good. Bijan, Achane, Madison. I'm trading Madison. I'm trading B-Rob. I'm keeping Ridley, Diggs. Pickens is hard to trade right now, especially with Pickett out, which is ridiculous. Canada needs to be removed. Flowers, Dell don't have much trade value. You're kind of stuck right now, I think, waiting on, unless you trade Brian Robinson and Madison for one player, which you totally could do. Maybe you upgrade quarterback or something like that. Who's your quarterback? I don't know who your quarterback is. I don't know if you say it here and I just don't see it. I would maybe use Brian Robinson for that. That would be good. But I love Achane. Devontae Smith, Ridley, those guys using Brian Robinson. And honestly, people are so scarce at RB, there's potential for that kind of move. There really is. Don't be scared to make an offer like that and try and go get a wide receiver like Devontae Smith right now using Brian Robinson. You could totally get it done. Dynasty PPR 1 QB contender. Don't trade Do I trade Burrow, Chase, Gibbs to get guys that are younger, like Olave, Pacheco, Stroud? I don't know that Pacheco's a huge dynasty target for me, but I do like him. I just don't know that he has the feel of a long-term player. Casey's very fickle, and they could change it out really quickly. He also runs so aggressively he could get hurt, so treat him like an older running back, to be honest. I think Burrow I would trade if you could upgrade into Jalen Hurts right now. It's just a smart move, I think. I'm not saying I don't believe in Burrow anymore. I just think Hurts would be a fun quarterback to have. His running capability in fantasy. Anthony Richardson would be fun to own. Chase and Gibbs. Chase is very inconsistent, and I think walking into the next year, it's going to be sad to not be pro Burrow and Chase like we have been. I have my doubts about consistency coming out of that team right now, and I know it could change in a year from now, and we'd be sad that we're not on that train and feeling like maybe we abandoned it just when things got rough. But I have a feeling that Chase is going to be up and down in his career, and I would just be very tempted to trade him out, but you got to be careful what you go get, like Olave and something. You can't just trade Chase for Olave straight up. Olave also struggled this week, but I do like the idea of that. Gibbs I'm keeping. I do believe Gibbs for the long term, but it does depend on what you could get. It obviously would matter. I believe in Breece Hall and Gibbs for the long term. But I also am the kind of person right now, at least early thinking, that in redraft or dynasty, I might be thinking wide receiver heavy and quarterback. And I know some people are feeling burned by the early quarterback. I'm not going to stray away from early quarterback. I still feel like I want a big name quarterback, especially in dynasty, and some wide receivers, and I want a bunch of H-hands. That's what I want in dynasty. I'm not saying I want a Bijan, I don't want a Gibbs. But if I'm going and getting and acquiring players, I don't know how interested I am in a running back right now. I'm after the wide receivers. 12-man, 0.5 standard lost JK. Have Herbert, Diggs, Amon-Ra, Breece, Roshan, Ferguson, Algier, Watson, Spears. Let's see here. Was offered Kyren and Kamara for Amon-Ra, St. Brown. Kyren and Kamara for Amon-Ra. And is this redraft? Did you say it's dynasty anywhere? I would take Kyren and Kamara for Amon-Ra. That's really, Kyren's playing unbelievable, and Kamara had a great day. I would take the RBs, even if I had to move anything later or something. And that was that the $20 hauler? That was the $20 hauler too, from my boy Who Dat. Appreciate you, Who Dat. $20 hauler from my boy.
Alert. Super chat alert.
That's a really, really good trade, man. You can turn that into a lot. I don't know if this is if it's dynasty. I might have some problems with it, but if it's redraft, I have no issues at all. I think that's a fantastic move. Not to mention, you could probably just flip it for something else. You easily turn that into something even better. Is Garrett Wilson a trade for Jordan Love? I have Burrow and I need to sit him. No, I think Garrett Wilson's got more value than that. Garrett Wilson proved I feel like he almost had another touchdown tonight. They're constantly trying to feed him, and I know there's a lot of concern and uncertainty with his production, but not dynasty, then go do it. Who dat? That's awesome. I probably say Love is not the quarter, like Richardson, yeah. Other quarterbacks, maybe Tua on the cheap right now, probably. But I don't know that I'm doing that for Love. I like Love a lot, but I think that's selling Garrett Wilson low. So I'm going to say go after Tua instead. Go after a different quarterback. Go after Jalen Hurts and give up a little bit more. You get what you pay for, at this moment in time. I like Jordan Love, but I don't know if that's the move. Sick Nasty, I'm sorry. I love you. Hugs. I don't know what happened between you two, but thank you, Slayer, for dropping that super chat to talk to Sick Nasty on my channel. Appreciate you guys communicating like that. I like it. I like it. That's how family do it. CD is the biggest receiver by low. Nico to Uranus. Why Nico to planet Uranus? Why would you say that, Zach? Are you mad about Tank Dell? Probably. If so, I understand. But CD's a good buy low. Yeah, sure, that would be a good one too. We could put Lamb on the list. Lamb's a good buy low. Get Lambed. Where's my Get Lamb button? I got that somewhere for you, pal. Thank you very much for dropping the super chat. Let me see if I can get my Get
Lambed.
Get Lamb, pal. Smitty, I can't win so far. The worst fantasy season. Olave, Ridley, Dell, Bijan, Kamara, Hall, Love. You've been waiting on Kamara, so you've been kind of down and out. T-Law, Musgrave. Any ideas? Olave, Ridley, and Bijan are probably, and Kamara are probably the holds. You can't really sell those guys right now. Kamara may be high, but I doubt it. B Hall, you can't sell high. This is just an accumulation of players that are struggling right now that you just can't sell for top dollar. You have to wait it out. And Kamara puts you back a little bit. And if you had other people stepping up at the right time, before he came back, you would have yourself a little bit of a lead and jump on everything. But it's feeling bleak right now because you had a lot of slow starters mixed with Kamara. That's natural. I think Love's probably your starter right now until further notice. And I would advise you to trade, but I don't think you'd be getting the right value. I think you have to wait for some of these guys to bounce back. And you just let it ride with this team. Look at it as like a challenge and just look at it as a revenge tour type of team. It's a good team. There's a lot of talent on that. It does need to pop off. I will say the combination of that group, but I think you have the ability to win, get into the playoffs and knock off one team at a time. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a good team though. I wouldn't sell anybody though because it's not that kind of team. Bought Jacobs for cheap this week. Who should I sell him for? Lamb was suggested. Devontae Smith. AJ Brown's off the table now. Debo and Achane. Debo and something because Debo's now completely cheap. That's how quick people jump from one player to another. Ridley, Olave. Those are all fantastic buys right now. Ridley's still a great buy. Devontae Smith is still a great buy. All those guys. Aaron Jones is a great buy. Aaron Jones is a fantastic buy. Go do some of those trades, broski. Beacons, appreciate your super chat. You are the man. Mike GP, a team in my league has Keenan Allen and DK on a bye next week. Do I look to trade one of them? My wide receivers are Devontae Smith, Garrett Wilson, Puka, Tutu, Kamara, Bijan, handcuffs. Yeah, I mean, would I trade like a Garrett Wilson for one of them? Maybe. Past that, I don't think you trade Puka right now. I don't think you trade Puka unless you're getting that Achane, Devontae Smith, Achane, Ridley kind of combination of a trade. I think that's what Puka gets you right now in a trade. Puka deserves that. Brees says Broncos next week. Let's hope, bro. They run the hell out of Brees Hall. I can't wait to see them use him. What do I do with Stevenson? Is not looking good. He looks like cheeks, bro, and I don't think there's a single soul that's going to go buy him right now. Your best bet picks is across position trading. What wide receiver is worrying everybody to an extreme degree? You might have to go shopping for a wide receiver that you don't really love that you're hoping bounces back, like a Garrett Wilson in a way. Mike Evans would be tempting for Stevenson. Puka you could try. Some people sell Puka because they're afraid it's going to crash and burn, and they just want to get rid of him. It's really weird. Lave you could try. Ridley you could try. Devontae Smith you could try. Keep trying to all those names. CeeDee Lamb you could try. Lamb's pretty cheap. I think that was a good piece of advice, whoever said that. Jamar Chase, you give up something a little smaller and take a gamble on Jamar Chase. I think he'll still suffice, but he won't be the same player. But Jamar Chase is a fantastic go-get. But going across positions, really your only hope. Or throw him into a quarterback upgrade picks. Maybe you've got a T-Law or something like that you're not happy with. Throw him in to upgrade into Hurts. Just throw Stevenson in. That's what I would do. This one's from David. JT and Gibbs too much for what, David? You swear I remember what we're talking about at this point. Hold on, let me go search for it. Too much. JT and Gibbs too much for what? What are we talking about? Oh, here he mistyped it. He didn't enter it. Okay. JT and Gibbs too much for Achane. JT and Gibbs for H. You can't do that. That's way too much, bro. That's way too. I'm not saying that H-Chain can't outperform both those guys. He could, but no, you can't do that, bro. You can't give up both those guys. I mean, JT, I wouldn't even trade JT for H-Chain. I'm not saying it's tough, because if I was on the other side and somebody offered me JT for my H-Chain, I'd have to be like, oh no, I don't know what to do here. But I don't think I would be giving up JT though to get him. I think you hold on that. There's still a little bit of intrigue with him that isn't settled yet. You know, it's not like he's 100% guaranteed this. We just are very excited about the value. Waddle isn't droppable, Tyler. That's another one I'm going to write down here just because Tyler said that. There are a lot of people that think Waddle's droppable. I definitely thought he was overvalued. Remember, when he was getting that 13, 14 overall ADP rank, and I said, don't touch him at that. Don't touch him in the second round. What are you guys doing grabbing the second wide receiver in an offense in the second round? It made no sense at all. Not anybody specific in here, but just the ADP. It's like, what are people doing? Well, I want to let you buy a super chat. I don't know, Anthony. Try restarting your phone or try a browser or something like that. But I still don't. I still buy low for comments like Tyler's. Do I drop Waddle? Comments like that make me want to go trade for Waddle on the cheap. Like Breece Hall. Someone said, "What do I do with Breece Hall?" Go trade it for Waddle. Team is Hurts, Kamara, Ford, Chase, Debo, Goddard, Puka, benches, Amari, Pickens. I mean, you got to probably get Amari into your lineup, and you probably got to trade someone like Chase or Debo and upgrade Ford. That's probably your move. Ford to, depending on how Kenneth Walker does. How about Ford to Pollard? How about you give up Debo and Ford for Pollard? How about you go get an ETN using Ford and maybe Pickens and Dell or whatever the hell you can combined together to go get an ETN who struggled, and his owner is probably panicking. H-Chan using Ford, and honestly, you could trade Debo and Ford for H-Chan and something. Might be a decent move, but I do like Debo. I do like your team. I don't think you need to make a trade. I think your team's very good. I would just be trying to upgrade Ford in little ways, and if you find something, throw it at us and we'll vote on it. Ridley's crushing my team. Ridley for Cup. That's not a horrible move if you want to make that move. I wouldn't necessarily celebrate it. I would just say that I can understand it, and it could be a risky but move that pays off for you. JT and Gibbs for HN too much. Thanks again for dropping that super chat. Way too much. Way too much. Appreciate you. Brady, Pollard for Eckler. I'd probably rather have Eckler after this week, but it makes it hard depending on your record, all that stuff. You have to consider it, but if you can weather through it, I'd rather have Eckler by a little bit once he's back. And so you just have to decide if you can stay afloat and if that's going to hamper you too much. The Dynasty trade I did, giving up Josh Allen for CMC Achane, netted me 75 points. Yeah, I look, it was a good trade this week for both sides. I mean, Allen went nuts. But I do feel like Josh Allen in Dynasty is hard to give up. I mean, you're winning money now, and that's okay, and I could get behind that and support you, DeVault. Puka, AR5, Stroud, all shine 2, won by 70 points. Stroud, Nico stack. DeVault, you should be very, very pleased with yourself and your move. I think CMC is definitely hard in Dynasty to value, and sometimes you just got to ride them till the wheels fall off on some players, bro, and you're going to win probably cash money if you keep it rolling. So, good job. Last super chat was 10-team PPR redraft. Also have Hill, Olave, Ridley, AJB, Nico, Dell, Watson at wide receiver. Let me see if I can find your super chat. So, one QB got 2 offers. Tua for Gibbs and second offer. Okay, so 10-team PPR redraft. So what's the second rounder then? Oh, it's not a second. It's a second offer. Okay, I got it now. You said and a second, and then I thought it was like offer is Burrow. You know what I'm saying? Like the way I read this was Tua for Gibbs and a second, and then another offer is Burrow. Okay, I gotcha. Redraft. So in that case, I'm going and getting Tua Tagovailoa for Gibbs and a second, and that's it. Gibbs, yeah. And there's no second. Okay, so yes, go get Tua. Tua allows you to keep the most bang for your buck, bro. And I think that's a really good move. And your team's capable of winning with that. You'll have Tua, you'll have Hill, Olave, Ridley, AJB, Nico, Dell, Watson. I think you'll be good in that case, bro. I would definitely do that. Thank you for your super chat, my boy. Coming in strong, baby. Coming in strong. Nico to the moon. I'm sorry. It's not Nico. It's talking about Nico. Jacinto. Nico to the moon, pal. Appreciate you. Let's see. We got another one from Jordan. Jordan says Aaron Jones for Amari and Ford. I'd rather have Aaron Jones, but that's arguable. And I could admit that changing on me like from a week from now. You know what I'm saying? Definitely could see that changing. Yeah, I don't know what else to say tonight, guys, other than, that I feel like, we got to go through and look at these players and just say to ourselves, like, who are the buy lows? These are the season stats. I don't think they include, let's just go through week 4, because I don't think they include the week 4 stats yet. A.J. Brown, let's just go through the top performers, and I'll tell you my feeling on them. A.J. Brown, sell high and hold. Not freaking out, don't want to get rid of him, but if your team's in shambles and you need a move, he is a great sell high or hold. Okay, Diggs, same thing. Don't trade him if you are winning. Why on earth would you trade either A.J. Brown or Diggs if you're winning? But they are sell highs or holds depending on your situation if you can't win with your current state of things. Nico's a sell high. I hold him, I like him, I play him, but I'm certainly trying to package him because most likely you're in a struggle bus situation every week with, do you start Nico or this guy? So why not sell the value extremely high? Puka, I am worried about what happens when Kupp comes back, but I still think he balls. But the moment Stafford goes down, this guy vanishes. He's nowhere near the player he is right now the moment Stafford gets hurt, and that's a concern. DJ Moore, I'd probably sell high more than I hold, but I would do both. Michael Wilson, pick him up and hold him. No one's going to buy him. JJ, honestly, you can't buy him low, and you hold him. And if you had to sell him high to do something, if you're decimated with injuries, you could. Brandon Ayuk, I would sell high more than hold because I think there will be somewhat of a rotation between Debo and Ayuk. Plus, I feel like I get a sense he's a little injury prone. Amon-Ra, I buy. Christian Kirk, I would be tempted to sell high. Adams, I would sell high. He's older. He keeps getting banged up. He's getting hospital balls thrown to him by a rookie and Jimmy. So it's like, as much as I want to say I love O'Connell, he's still going to throw hospital balls too. I'm selling and getting out of Devontae Adams. Not that I wouldn't get something that I love. Like, it's so funny if like Adams goes nuts next week, people come in and go, all right, sell Adams, huh? If I sold him, I'm selling him high and I'm getting something I absolutely love, and we both make out on the trade. Garrett Wilson, kind of a buy, hold, sell, just depending. Devontae's a sell. I'm sorry, a buy. Devontae Smith is a buy. Buy him low. If you've got him, hold him. Don't sell him low. Buy low on CD or hold. Jamar Chase, I would sell like medium because you can't sell him high, but I'd also buy in the right scenario. Dotson had 27 yards, 4 receptions, and a touchdown. It was nice to see him score. Keenan Allen's a hold. Ridley's a buy or a hold. You don't sell him because you're selling him too low. The Christian Watson's a buy. Those are just the wide receivers. We'll probably go over more of this tomorrow. Let me get these super chats off the screen. Mark Cleveland, $10 hauler. Mark, appreciate you. Mark to the freaking moon. Mark says, hey, Smitty, Pacheco for my Garrett Wilson. I'd take Pacheco at this point. I like both of them. Chat, would you rather have Pacheco or Garrett Wilson? I probably lean Pacheco if you need the RB, Mark. Trade Gibbs for Aaron Jones. I'd take Aaron Jones in a millisecond. Other backs, Pierce. Yeah, take Aaron Jones in a millisecond, bro. Aaron Jones is a fantastic buy low. Achane, a Mars man, absolutely. He just won me a week. That was benching Burrow for Russ. Shaking my head, still not proud of that, but it paid off. Yeah, I mean, look, you got to bench Burrow until further notice. He's not right. He's not right, and they're lying to us because he's not practicing in full. And quite honestly, I think we get some news that he sits. Full PPR traded Gabe Davis for Stroud, traded Walker, Waller, and Ferguson for Gibbs and Kelsey. I could get behind either side of that second trade, but that Kelsey's going to turn it on. JJ Olave, Amon-Ra Stevenson, the rest of my team. Yeah, I mean, your team is solid. You could argue a bunch of those sides, but I are a bunch of different corners of each of those trades. But I think your team is phenomenal, and you did good at the end of the day. Chris, appreciate your super chat, dropping a $10 hauler moonshot to you, young man. Smitty, a team in my league has Jefferson and Devontae Adams. What do I trade to get both? I got Josh Allen, Jacobs, Etienne, Amon-Ra, Dell, Achane, Kelsey, Andrews. I don't know why you have 2 tight ends. This is one of those things. It's weird. So obviously you're trading Andrews. Let me get this off screen. You're trading Andrews and you're trading Jacobs to try and acquire those guys. But I don't know that that's going to necessarily get it done. I don't think it's going to be easy to acquire both of them. Nobody just gives up their 2 top wide receivers. In fact, I never remember a trade ever where someone's went to a team and grabbed 2 top 7 wide receivers from somebody in a trade. I can't, in my entire 20-plus year career, I can never remember even executing myself a deal where somebody sent me their top 8 wide receivers, let's call it. I can't even think of it one time. It's almost an impossible thing to think about, especially like what do you do here? I would say you're probably just going after one. I would go after JJ. I think Adams is an avoid for me in terms of acquiring because he's older and he keeps getting banged up and he's got hospital balls being thrown to him by both O'Connell and Jimmy, and I like O'Connell a lot, but I just see Adams sitting out the end part of the year to keep his body healthy as he fights for a contract or fights for a trade, or whatever, for an extension. I just think he's going to protect his body and not want to lose, just go out there and lose. So I'm petrified of what happens at the end of the year for him. So if you could get rid of Andrews and Jacobs for Jefferson, I would do it. That's the only move I see possible for that without dismantling your entire team, Chris. That's a great trade if you pull it off, though. And Jacobs had the day to do it. Those guys are tradable. Andrews and Jacobs had the 2 days. This is the perfect week to do it. 10-team, 2 QB, 3 wide receiver. That boy coming in strong with a $20 hauler. 1 and 3 now need to buy low options or advice in general. Stroud, AR5. AR5 is your QB. Actually, both these QBs are popping off, and this is a 2 QB league. So good job there. Rachaad White, Gibbs. I'm trading Rachaad White, I think. I keep Gibbs unless I'm selling high, which you can't do. Rachaad White, I don't think you can necessarily sell high, but Ayuk you could. JJ and Chase, or maybe you trade Chase, and he's not easy to trade, but you could go buy another struggling wide receiver like the guys we're talking about, Ridley, Devontae Smith, Olave, Lamb, Waddle, and then Aaron Jones as an example. Those are all players that I think make it very, very tempting to make these moves. I would definitely consider trading in Chase for, I would say, Devontae Smith and an Achane, or Devontae Smith and an Aaron Jones, and then you give up something else like Flowers. What if you did Rachaad White and Chase for a wide receiver like Ridley and Achane, and a running back like Achane, something to that degree. So I'd go to the Achane owner, I'd go to the Ridley owner, I'd go to the Devontae Smith owner, I'd go to the Olave owner. Olave might be the best one to buy low on, maybe in this situation. And if you don't want to go toward risky players at all, then I guess maybe Lamb is a little safer. If you're worried about Olave and you're like, why get into another, you already had Gibbs and you're worried about getting Olave and you're concerned about that, don't go after players you don't believe in, though. I don't want you to get into another messy situation. Just because a player does bad doesn't mean you should buy him. Maybe they're going to continue to do bad. But Lamb would be interesting. I think Devontae Smith's going to do well. I don't think he'll struggle, though.
Alert. Super chat alert.
That was for that boy. Appreciate your $20 hauler, my broski. Sick Nasty, would you do Ingram and Dotson for Puka? Yes, I would take Puka Nacua for that. Puka is phenomenal right now. Again, though, if Stafford goes down, I think he can vanish. I don't see how he sustains at all. And Cup, too. Someone dropped Zay Flowers in my league, was going to pick up Gabe Davis. Should I pivot to Zay Flowers? Someone dropped Zay Flowers in my league. I was going to pick up Gabe Davis. Gabe's safer right now. I like both of them, Superfish. I really like Flowers, but Gabe Davis is looking really good. Remember how we liked him so much last year? It's like we're a year late sometimes on these guys. Gabe looks like the player I wanted him to be last year and touted him to be. Got offered JJ for my Achane and Ayuk. I would take JJ and run Dark Knight. That is a got him moment.
Got him.
Appreciate you. Tyler, thoughts on Puka rest of season? A must start for sure. Over Debo, probably, yeah. It doesn't mean I don't like Debo, though. But I'm telling you, and I'm not saying to trade him. I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm just saying the moment if Stafford goes down, I'm just saying that to entertain trade offers that make sense. Because if Stafford were to go down, he got injured in this game, and he's very injury prone, Puka goes away. Because there's no way Kupp and Puka can survive in a situation where there's not this overfeeding, saturating type of quarterback that's just throwing missiles all over the place. Should I give up Pollard for Olave and Gibbs? I'd rather have Olave and Gibbs, I suppose, but that's close. Pollard had a disappointing day, so I think we view him differently for the moment, but we shouldn't overreact to Pollard having a bad day. So we got to maybe can Kmet continue? I think he could. He was Kmet, Kincaid, and Okonkwo I've written off. I'm admitting that I missed on that. But Okonkwo, Kincaid, and Kincaid, Okonkwo, and Kmet were my top 3 players that one of which, not all of them, one of which would become a surprise top 5 running back. Yeah. Pollard over Gibbs and Olave, says the Nolan. I don't mind either take, honestly. My Mixon and Najee for Barkley. I'd rather have Barkley, but I still try and flip Barkley. I'm not feeling confident with any of those guys, to be honest with you, bro. All right. Hey, guys, I'm going to take a couple phone calls, then I'm going to be out of here for the night because I'm exhausted. Sundays wear me out. I got a whole lot I do on top of going live in the morning and live in the evening before and all that. So I didn't get any sleep. I didn't even sleep until like an hour cat nap today. So I've been up for about 24 hours. So I'm exhausted. So I'm going to get out of here real quickly. The phone lines will open real briefly. $9.99 holler from AM. Appreciate AM coming in strong with a $10 half PPR 12 team 1 QB. 1 and 2. AJ Brown, running back are Moss and Achane. I don't like Moss. I thought he was a good sell high last week. AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Tutu, Ridley, Pierce, Barkley. I'm probably trying to get out of Barkley as fast as I can. Not that I would give him up for cheap. I would rather hold on to him than get rid of him for cheap. But I just feel like maybe the move here is maybe Barkley and Nico. Not that I don't like Nico, but Nico is a perfect sell high candidate right now. And it's not like you're not getting somebody you love. That's the whole point of a buy low, sell high, is you're getting a player you absolutely love. So you're not going to even feel bad if Nico continues to do well. If Nico continues to do well, then you both win the trade. If Nico doesn't do well, then that's, anyway. So I would probably look to do that. Nico and Barkley for one better player. Now, what better player do you go after? I don't even know. I feel like Pollard's still the better player. I still feel like Pollard might be that guy, but I think maybe you try and do some sort of 2 for 2. Maybe there's not one player that we want in this scenario. I feel like, why no sleep? Because I did a live stream till like 3 a.m. last night, and then the London game, I did a live stream. I did an Instagram Q&A at like 5 a.m. So it just got out of hand, bro. But Sundays are always like that for me. Not 24 hours, but like little sleep. So that's why I'm a little tired right now. So I'm going to get out of here. But maybe you go after target Achane using Barkley and Collins and see what other player you could throw in to make that feel even, but make it so that you win the trade. Another player you could go after would just go after, instead of Barkley, you're going to replace Barkley with either whatever wide receiver you still believe in of the ones I'm listing, Devonta Smith, Ridley, Olave, CeeDee Lamb, Waddle, and then go to the team and see what players they could throw in to make it weighted so that it helps you win the trade. Aaron Jones instead of Barkley, and see what wide receiver you could throw in to throw Nico in, or trade Barkley for Aaron Jones straight up if you wanted to get out of that. Those are just a couple ideas, but I mean, we could go over more tomorrow too when we have time to digest and let the dust settle. Because right now, you know, there's a lot to just happen, and we got to look at things. I got to kind of feel out the questions everybody has and kind of see. Let's see here. ETN for Achane and Addison. Insanity. ETN for Achane and Addison. I don't think it's insanity. I think that's preference, bro. I can't sit here and tell somebody not to go get Achane for ETN. I can't in good conscience try and shut that down. I will say it feels a little risky, but it could totally work out. It's just, it has risk to it. We don't know what his full workload is going to be, but the dude looks insane. And he's amazing, and he won weeks single-handedly, and ETN didn't. So, but I mean, there's pros and cons to that, man. ETN could bounce right back, but I do quietly like HM better. I just don't know if the fair market values being fair to you in that trade. You know. All right, let me go over to Tennessee. Mike, you got 30 seconds. Go. You got to be quick. No full roster breakdowns. I don't have time for that. So you don't get it out in 30 seconds. I hang up and answer what I can. Go.
Got it, Smitty. Yeah, so, hey, would you take the CeeDee Lamb Gibbs side or Achane and Olave?
CeeDee Lamb Gibbs or Achane Olave? Give me Achane Olave. Easy.
All right, good. I did that today.
Excellent move. Because, I mean, I still believe in Olave. I don't, just 1 week, am I supposed to just write like Olave, everyone's like, oh, Olave's no longer a moon man. What do you mean Olave's no longer a moon man? He had one bad game where Carr couldn't throw the football downfield to the point where Kamara had, 11 targets, I think it was, or 9 receptions, and he had 30 yards. Kamara didn't get 70 or 80 or 90, 100 yards receiving. He had 30 yards receiving on like 8 or 9 targets or whatever it was, or 10 targets.
Yeah, I think he caught 9 balls.
Yeah, it was short passes because Carr couldn't throw downfield. So, and I don't know if that changes. They probably shouldn't have played him. All right, yeah, excellent trade.
Well, I'm just kind of...
What?
All right, perfect. Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I'm just worried about Dax. That's why I wanted to kind of sell CeeDee Lamb kind of high. So...
Yeah, all right, man. Good job. Later. Ethan.
Right, thanks, Smitty.
Yep, Ethan, 30 seconds.
Smitty, in my 2 QB league, your buy lows are about 50-50 with the people biting. I sold Saquon for Fields. Got Cup for Gibbs package.
Wait. Saquon for Fields?
No, I got Fields. I sold Saquon because of the injury.
Yeah,
now,
but who told? I didn't tell you to do that. Don't put me in that boat. Look, Fields.
It's a 2 QB league. I just got 40 points.
Okay. 2Q. You didn't say that. But.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I didn't advise you on that though. I didn't advise you to buy Fields. So like you coming in, like I like Fields. I still was kind of like holding out hope for him for sure, but I wasn't necessarily advising anybody risk the biscuit on it. You know, right now. But he's still questionable though. You know, like I'm very happy with what I saw. He looked very sharp, but I really question what's going on in that organization and on that team. But go ahead.
He'll be my running back at worst case.
Yeah.
Ford, do you think get Ford for Gibbs now? Now try to get Gibbs back?
Ford for Gibbs? I think I'd rather have Gibbs. It's a risk. It might be a waiting game, too. It might be a 2 or 3 week waiting game. But people are not patient enough to normally play that out. So, I mean, you got to be patient for it. And it may backfire.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, later, bro. Grant, you're the last caller. You have 30 seconds. Go, bro.
Yes, Smitty, I'm 4-0, and maybe I don't need to make a move, but I have Connor, Jacobs, and Bijan for my running back spots, and, one of those is a flex, obviously. I have Olave and Devontae Smith as my wide receivers. Do you think I should make a deal to go beef up, go sell Connor high, go sell Jacobs high? What do you think?
I would. I mean, I don't know what running back is even in that caliber, though, to get both those guys, so you might have to do a 2 for 1. It's not like you can get CMC. It's not. I mean, you already got Bijan. He'd be the other guy to maybe go get cheaply, because people are freaking out.
I have Bijan. I have Jacobs. I have Connor. I have Olave and Devontae Smith.
What about Jacobs for Aaron Jones or Jacobs for JT, or and then go Connor
What
for.
about Connor for Waddle?
Yeah,
What do you think about Connor for Waddle?
Yeah,
I
that's
could flex Waddle and put Bijan in the running back spot.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is go get Aaron Jones using Jacobs and go get a wide receiver like Devontae Smith, Ridley, or Lamb or Waddle using the other piece.
Okay. Do you like Connor or Jacobs better after what you've been seeing the last couple weeks?
Probably Connor, but I don't trust either one for the long term.
Yeah. My only issue, I know you're trying to go, and I know you've been up. You're a fucking amazing one. Excuse the language, but man, you put so much work into this live stream. We all love it, so we really appreciate it. But I just worry about Connor versus Jacobs because Connor seems to get thrown out of that lineup the second they're doing a pass play, and he's so TD reliant. So that's my only question.
Yeah, but what's Jacobs done until right now, though? I mean, he's been missing as well, so I don't know.
True. No, you're right. It's almost this is like mimicking 2022, right? So
Yeah, I guess I might lean. I might go back and forth on it, but I get rid of them both. That's the point for me.
Hot take, and I'm going to leave you with this as I head out. Devontae Adams to the Chiefs soon. Just wait on it. They need him.
It would be fun to see Adams move. It would be really fun. All right, later, pal. Appreciate you.
You, Matt.
All right, off the Henny says, bro, how none of your guys hit this year? Fields, T-Law. What do you mean none of my guys hit this year? What do you mean none of our guys hit this year, bro? We got Walker, we got Swift, we got Kamara, we got Pacheco. Olave's been hitting all year. Like, what are you talking about, Henny? You're gonna list guys that didn't hit. Not to mention, you act like the whole show is about 12 to 15 guys on the Moonman list. That's the bold prediction list. That prediction list is going to, I would say, 1 out of every 2 or 3 years be 50%. It's gonna have a 50% year, bro. Not to mention, we have other players on there like Bijan and other guys that are still gonna bounce back, bro. Like, funny, but you tie everything to 12 bold predictions. That's the problem with a lot of the way people take the Moonman and Marsman. All the other good content you get on this channel, the H-Hand advice, way before H-Hand was even a thing, bro. Way before. All of that stuff. You know, you can take it however you want, but it's weird, bro. It's weird. It's not a good look. 2-2, $10 hauler. Appreciate Vegas for dropping the $10 hauler. Vegas to the moon. I thought I had that. I just moved the screens. I swear, some people are just so weird about that stuff. 2-2 PPR. 2-2 PPR 2-0. Oh, 2-0 since the AJB trade. Okay. Burrow stack. Jacobs, Kyron, AJB, Laporta, K9, IU, Gibbs, Roshan. Drop T-Law. Who would you drop to get him? I guess I would say of all these guys, you probably have to drop. I mean, you have to drop JSN or Roshan. I mean, just pick the one you feel like you're most likely not going to feel like is going to get scooped up right away in your particular league with your league mates. But you can't drop anybody else, to be honest. Trades, Kyron, Jacobs. No, I mean, I like this team. I would maybe contemplate trading Jacobs on the high. And you got a need for running back potentially. Maybe you go get Aaron Jones. Maybe you go get ETN. Maybe you go get Pollard. Maybe you give up Ayuk and Jacobs for Pollard if you still believe in that. Yeah, and I love that everybody's already writing off Breece Hall like he can't do anything. It's like today was a really good day, actually. There's so many good things that happened. So many, players turned around their fortunes in some ways. And when Swift has one bad game, he's now not a successful Moonman? Like, he's been blowing up. Everybody's been thrilled. He's a top 10 running back, and he has a touchdown and 60 yards or something total, something around that. And now he's not. Now he's not a Moonman. Now he's not a successful Moonman. Olave's been blowing it up all year. Absolute magnificent year. He has one bad game, and now what? Olave's not a successful Moonman. What, Kenneth Walker? Forget about Kenneth Walker. What about Pacheco? on the Moon Man list. How does that work? Pacheco did well tonight, did he not? Did Pacheco not go off like a monster tonight? What, does that not count? I don't understand what constitutes a good bull prediction. Appreciate you, Vegas, for dropping the super chat, my guy. Absolute marvel. Marvel you are. Ty Lee coming in strong. Trade Andrews for Cooper Kupp. No, I think he just earned a whole bunch more value, and Kupp is still an enigma. So I'd be very, very tempted to get more. Lamar, JT, I'm 0-4. I would want Kupp in something. I want Kupp and Achane like player, you know. I would want Kupp, and then maybe you're upgrading Hall into ETN or something like that. I just think Andrews just went out and had a great day, and Kupp is totally an unknown. Totally an unknown. Let's see here. Trying to read some of your comments for Pacheco to the moon. Ridley's a good buy low right now. Just traded Achane for Pacheco. I don't like that, Reed. Achane, why'd you do that? I don't like that. We like Achane more than Pacheco. We like Pacheco a lot, but Achane could be league winning. What made you do that after what Achane's done in 2 days in a row? Like, I just want to know, like, the thinking, Reed. Like, was it you're afraid it's gonna the ride's gonna end? Because Achane's been exploding. You know, I'm not saying it won't work out because I do love Pacheco. I'm just saying I think he's so low. He's been going crazy. Should I trade Derrick Henry away? Depends on what you can get. And this right here from ABZ, QBs, Dak, Danny Dimes, running backs, Bijan, Gibbs, Roshan, wide receivers, CD, Devontae, Smith, currently 1-3. Do I look to trade somewhere? I probably would have to I don't even know what you can sell high though, bro. I don't mean that in a bad way, just that like your quarterbacks aren't sellable. Bijan, you just won't get what he deserves, so you can't sell him. Gibbs, you can't sell him yet. CD had a bad day, so you can't really sell him. Devontae Smith, you're waiting on. You kind of have to sit tight. You don't really have a move to make. I don't hate the team though, but you certainly don't have any sell material right now. I think you got to wait. Sell Derrick Henry as fast as you can. Sell Jacobs as fast as you can. Not dumpster fire, cellar dweller value, but just that I think now is the time to sell Henry and Jacobs coming off the big games. I will see you all tomorrow. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for all my super chatters. Thank you for my $20 haulers. You guys are unbelievable. My $20 haulers include Brian, Rogers, Chris S., Northwest, Nathan Wins. Appreciate you. Who Dat? Appreciate you. We had another $20 hauler, I think, in here. That boy coming in with a $20 hauler, and all my other 9 and 1 and just thumbs up and just support. We hit 23K last night on the live stream. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the thumb up button on your way out the door. I think we have a very small number of... No, we did good. We're at 225. We got 750 people in here. If you're new to the channel, I go live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday, and I go live whenever news breaks. So you found your new home, please hit the subscribe button so you know when I go live, because if I go live when news breaks and you're not hitting that subscribe button, how are you going to be here for the breaking news shows? So subscribe if you're new. Hit that button. I'm watching it now to see that ticker go up. So I see it right here. Also, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. They'll match up to $100. They'll match up to $500. They'll double your first deposit up to $500 until October 4th. We have very little time, couple days. Thank you for subscribing. I just saw you do that. They're double your first deposit up to $500 for a couple more days by using code Smitty, and we're going to draft for week 5 contests here very, very soon. Probably, if not tomorrow night, the next night, okay? And then the next night after that. I'm going to drop that link in the live chat. It's in the description of every video if you're watching the replay of the video. So Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, hit that link right now. In the last super chat here from Foamy, I'm on the way out the door. Trade Kyron Lamar for Diggs. Boyd just subscribed. Appreciate you. Kyron and Lamar for Diggs. I would take Diggs, I believe. Jeff, thank you, pal, for subscribing. 4-0, 12-team, have Achane, Swift, AR5, Devontae Smith, Amon-Ra, Andrews, bench Khalil, Elijah Moore, Stroud. It's a good team. Kyron and Lamar for Diggs. Your quarterback would be AR. So if this is a 1 QB league, I probably do this trade. I'd try and get something else in it, but I probably do this trade, Foamy, if you're starting one quarterback and it's AR5, who's an absolute monster. Love AR5. What do we do about Josh Jacobs? This is from Paul. Paul dropping a super chat here, $5 hauler. What do we think about Josh Jacobs? I think we sell him for Devontae Smith. We sell him for Ridley. We sell him for Olave. We sell him for Aaron Jones. We sell him for Tua if you need a quarterback and you're in shambles. You sell him for Lamb. You sell him for Waddle and maybe something else. You sell him for Achane, maybe straight up. That's what I'm doing with Jacobs because I don't trust that situation, and it's constantly a revolving door there, and I don't trust it at all. And I think that Jacobs and Adams are still in a vulnerable position, even though Adams is doing very well. He's getting banged up. It's not the first time he's gotten hurt already this year, and he comes back on the field, but he's getting hospital balls thrown to him because nobody there is an experienced quarterback or a good quarterback. And I like O'Connell, I do, but Jimmy G and him will throw hospital balls. So there's a lot of risk involved. So I'm gonna be very cautious about advising people to hold on to Adams or Jacobs when you can go get the world. No one's asking you not to believe in Adams at cellar dweller pricing, but I do believe it's a smart move, very smart move, to go get a player that could very much be just as good as Adams and get an additional piece because Adams had the bigger game, or he may have, just depends on who we're talking about, but like a Devontae Smith and an Achane for Adams, if you can pull that off, that's a remarkable trade. Ridley and an Achane for Devontae Adams is a remarkable trade to pull off. So appreciate you all. I'll see you all tomorrow, live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every Monday through Friday. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and the like button on the way out the door. Appreciate you. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you all tomorrow. Bill says Ridley or Pollard, half PPR, 8 points per TD. I have Lawrence, but need a running back, strong wide receiver. Ridley or Pollard? Probably Pollard. If I'm choosing between those, Ridley or Pollard, I'm probably going Pollard, Bill, on this question. But they're very close. I mean, I like Ridley a lot. I still do. I know some people are giving up on him, but I'd rather have Pollard if it were me. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate you. Thank you all. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, live whenever news breaks. Subscribe if you're new. Deuces. See you tomorrow.